Back in the late 90s and the early 2000s, after Viagra was approved and insurance companies immediately announced that they'd be including Viagra in their prescription coverage, there were a ton of laws passed all over the country essentially saying, hey, boys, if we're going to cover Viagra, how about we cover birth control, too? The LA Times had a great piece on this today. Viagra gets approved in 1998. By the year 2000, all over the country, they are making moves on contraception coverage laws. The state of Iowa, for example, enacts a mandate that health insurance drug plans in Iowa cover contraception. It's the Republican legislature in Iowa that does this. They overwhelmingly back a contraceptive coverage mandate in Iowa, and there are no exemptions for religious employers of any kind. Even churches in Iowa must cover contraception in their health insurance prescription drug plans, right? So say the Republicans in the year 2000. In Arizona, same deal. They exempted churches themselves, but not church-affiliated institutions like universities and hospitals. A Republican introduces that in Arizona. It passes through the Republican-controlled legislature, and it is signed into law in Arizona by a Republican and Catholic governor. In New York State, a mandate that New York health insurance prescription plans have to cover birth control not only passes, but gets a bunch of support from Republicans in the legislature. New York's Republican governor, George Pataki, signs it. By 2005, news has even made its way to Mike Huckabee in Arkansas. And with Republican co-sponsors, Arkansas, under Mike Huckabee, passes a law to require health insurance drug policies to cover contraception. Like in Arizona and New York, and in the Obama administration's original policy this year, churches are exempt, but church-affiliated hospitals and universities are not exempt. That's what Mike Huckabee signed into law in his state in 2005. Stick a pin in that for Mike Huckabee for a second. We will be back to that in just a moment. But the year after Mike Huckabee does it, in 2005, a Massachusetts governor by the name of Mitt Romney signed the big Massachusetts healthcare overhaul, which reaffirmed the long-standing mandate in Massachusetts that health insurance prescription plans, say it with me now, must cover birth control. Mitt Romney signed that. He now calls essentially the same rule from the Obama administration an assault on religion. It's his own policy. Mike Huckabee, God bless him, former weight loss guru, no longer trying to hawk that. Now he's just a Fox News personality, and he is trying now to set off a national campaign under the heading, "We are all Catholics now." He's lambasting the Obama administration for what he calls attacking religious liberty. Remember, what Mike Huckabee signed into law in his state when he was governor was the same thing that the Obama administration proposed that Mr. Huckabee is now attacking. Apparently, it's okay if you're a Republican. In terms of this kind of rule as federal policy, the same type of regulation that contraception had to be covered in health insurance prescription plans was upheld as part of federal employment law in the year 2000. When the Bush administration took office, they had the opportunity to roll that requirement back. They decided not to. They didn't even try. Why would they? It wasn't a controversial issue. John Ashcroft, yes, that John Ashcroft, was asked about it in the Senate at the time. He said, as Attorney General, he would have no problem with that rule. He'd defend it. Republicans have not only been happily living with this policy, they have been promoting this policy. They have been signing this policy into law all over the country roughly since Viagra.